So beginning our day, I thought to just share a reflection again about language. I like language, and I had a not like personal insight, but I found out something which is interesting. But first, just to start, I think it's always important to know or to think just how much language is very much metaphor or evocative or pointing to things. It very often what we say isn't really, in a sense, if you look at the exact meaning of the words we're using, it's not in that. So you could say we just had breakfast, which is like to break our fast. But there's nothing really about breaking it. It's an image that you have a thing which is a fast, which we've been doing since yesterday, and then we now break it, as in so that is no longer intact. And then, so this is like a reflection. So reflection again, we have a mirror, and so it's not a physical reflection, but we understand the implications, and that's why I say people with autism sometimes struggle with humor and even simple things like meanings of words. And so this is going to be maybe uploaded onto the website, and somebody say, well, why is it going up? It's just, and loading, who's is it heavy? Like, do we need help here? And the website, is it like a spider's web? It doesn't, and it's a, so you see, none of these words mean what they say, if you like. So we have to know the meaning. And this is relevant when it comes to Dharma practice, reading scriptures, and interacting with our life. We have to tease out the meaning. So anyway, this is just a build up to a little sharing. So I was thinking about right understanding, is a common translation of sammaditthi, or right view, right perspective, right understanding. And and I'd often heard that understanding is, in this sort of folk etymology, is principles or beliefs or attitudes that you stand on. They're under you and you stand on them. Or I'd heard the opposite, that actually you're standing under them. So there's this sort of umbrella beliefs or values that are sort of over you and you stand under them. So I was wondering, well, does understand mean to stand on, or are they above you and you're standing under them? So I just Googled it, which you can do these days, and I Googled understanding etymology, and to my surprise and delight, it's neither. So under can mean either under in the sense of below, but it's actually very often the prefix which is a variant of inter. So it actually means amongst or between, and that's the etymology. And in our Pali, it's antara. Antara, like to go into town, is antara garang, amongst the houses. And so under comes from udo. We have that in Pali as well. So to get back to understanding then, so it means to stand amongst. Okay? So again, but it's not physically standing necessarily, it can be. So to stand amongst, you have, what do you stand amongst? What do you stand between? This is your understanding. So physically speaking, you say, yeah, which is the crowd that you hang with? Who do you stand around with? They will condition your views and perspectives. It's very important. So the Buddha says, beginning of all, you avoid foolish people, you associate with the wise, or spiritual friendship. You begin the process by standing amongst certain people, but even people, they're not really, the importance is not their physical bodies. Again, it's their views and opinions and values. Or like the forest, your right understanding, why is that conditioned by living in the forest? Because you stand amongst trees and nature rather than, imagine Manhattan. It's just so different. You get a totally different perspective if you go and stand amongst the skyscrapers. So we see how important that is. And then all the way up to more moving towards the emotional, the mental realm of what we call right view, being all these perspectives, beliefs, things which will condition us to think in a way which we can see for ourselves, which we test for ourselves, actually leads us in a more and more wholesome direction. But the thing is, it begins with a little bit of, say, right view or wisdom first, to stand with the right people or stand with the right values in the first place. That may be our good fortune, good karma, parents, society. But then it's up to us to keep using that. So it's like it kind of becomes a more and more developing practice where, based on certain input and certain perspectives, or if you stand in a forest, it'll filter your view, you filter the light in a certain way. All of that, then we have to process and think for ourselves, is this right? Are these beneficial? And then cultivate them more and more. And so it's a very sort of simple reflection, nice little thought that the right understanding is what do you stand between, where do you place yourself, that then conditions what you see, but also how you then view things. And with this kind of perspective, this sense of view, right view, it becomes more and more how we develop our line of thinking and conditions more and more right understanding. So I just share that for today, and hope everybody, as we go around, effectively realize we're constantly standing in certain things, like learning the chanting is immersing ourselves, like at CTTB, morning and evening chanting. They're just fully immersed in all those concepts, in physical space, the movements, the people, and the words, the sounds. That's all a whole, developing a language, an environment, a culture, which will then influence the way they think. And we do that here with our routine. It's all ways of developing right understanding, from the physical, temporal, through the day, and then internal to our own emotions. I'll share that with today.